So while setting up a comfortable workstation is important, it's equally important to move regularly. Now, science is showing us that our sedentary lifestyles are actually linked to many of the big health conditions that we're seeing today. So things like diabetes, heart disease, depression and obesity. But the really good news is you don't need to change a lot to actually make a big difference. So having that brisk walk at lunchtime, when you're waiting for that kettle to boil, doing 10 squats or 10 wall press-ups, all of those regular movement snacks make that big difference to reduce that risk. Now, when it comes to designing an exercise program to look after our health, it's worth considering that there are three main components to exercise. So the first being flexibility, second being strength, and then the third being cardiovascular. So when it comes to cardiovascular exercise, the current NHS guidelines are that we should be doing 150 minutes of moderate cardiovascular exercise during a week to look after our health of our heart. Now, moderate exercise is anything that allows us to continue having a conversation with someone, but we wouldn't necessarily be able to sing them a song. But this doesn't need to be done all together either. It can be broken up into even 5-minute chunks. So when it comes to strength, a bit of a sad statistic here, after the age of 30, we're at risk of losing 3 to 5% of our muscle bulk every year unless we're doing things to maintain our power and our strength. But again, it doesn't need to be a lot to actually make a difference. So actually dedicating 5 or 10 minutes of your time to doing some strength exercise a few times a week can make all the difference and take away that risk. When it comes to flexibility, as we age, we naturally become stiffer, but we don't have to. And actually stiffness is linked to aches and pains. So again, if you can build some stretching and some flexibility type exercise into your weekly program, then that's a great way of maximising your comfort and preventing those aches and pains. So we've looked at movement and why building movement into our day is important. But I have to be honest, forming new habits isn't always easy. Now, BJ Fogg has got some really great resources out there on how to make habits stick. And there's really three components. So the first one is actually making sure that you schedule time for that new habit, putting it in your diary. The second is actually trying to link that new habit to an existing habit. So coffee might become 10 squats. Lunch might become a walk before or after. And then the third important thing is actually to ensure that you make that habit easy to do. Now, as human beings, we do like success, and if we succeed in doing something, we're much more likely to repeat it. Tony Schwartz, founder of the Energy Project, teaches us that as human beings, we're designed to pulse between expending energy and actually renewing energy. And what his research shows us is that we naturally move from full energy and focus to actually physiological fatigue every 90 minutes. And we try and override this tiredness by eating sugary foods or drinking coffee, but that's not great for our immune system and it can actually lead to ill health. When you're having a break, it's a good idea not to replace looking at the computer screen with just looking at your mobile. Now, it's really tempting to check the news or check social media, but it's not really giving your brain or your eyes a break. Now, a good idea is actually to do something called box breathing. So if you imagine a box, and the box has 4 sides, so you're breathing in for a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 4, and then holding for a count of 4, and repeat that a few times. And what that's doing is it's bringing your breathing rate down to a calm, natural state. And interestingly, when we're working on screens, our breathing can change a lot, and we can hold our breath and even become very shallow with our breathing. And the term that it's been given is actually email apnea. So taking regular chances to actually bring that breathing back to a resting state is a really good idea. Looking at a screen all day doesn't cause permanent eye damage, but it can make your eyes feel uncomfortable. Now, people can get dry eyes, sore eyes, they can get headaches, and they can get neck pain. And these are the common symptoms of something called digital eye strain. Now, the common causes of digital eye strain are when people are looking at a screen for too long. So it's a really good idea to get into a habit of actually taking your eyes off the screen. And there's something called the 20-20-20 rule, which means every 20 minutes, look away at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. And that allows those eye muscles to sort of constrict and dilate and actually work in a different way to how they're being worked on the screen. Also, if you've got your screen too far away or too close towards you, then that means that those eye muscles might be having to strain to see the screen. Another common thing is when people don't have the lighting in the room the same as the lighting on the screen. So for example, when it starts getting towards night time, the actual light in the room becomes dimmer. A lot of monitors have a nightlight function, so you can either set this up manually or you can set it up to come on at a certain time of day. It's also a good idea not to face a window or sit under a direct light, and that's because you don't want glare on the screen, because glare can actually lead to eye strain. Other ways of reducing digital eye strain is making sure that you're not sitting too far or too close to the screen. So actually you ideally want it about arm's width away. Also making sure that when you're looking at the screen, you're looking at the top casing of the screen. So drawing an imaginary line from your eyes to the top of the screen is a good position to be in, and that keeps the neck in that neutral position. Making sure the text on the screen is a good size for you to see. If it's too small, you're more likely to sort of crane your neck, which can lead to neck discomfort. And then another important thing to do is to blink regularly. We tend to blink a lot less when we're on the screen, which means our eyes can get tired. If now or in the future you do experience any comfort issues which you relate to your workstation setup or your behaviours, it's worth getting the advice early because it can prevent it developing into a bigger problem. So please get in touch on our advice line. So in summary, it's obviously really important to set up a comfortable workstation, but it's equally important to build regular movement into your day. And remember, if you do get any comfort issues, then please don't hesitate to get in contact.